Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Stormy Search for the Self, a guide to personal growth through transformational crisis, by Christina Grof and Stanislav Grof. Narrated by Amy Gorelow. Publisher's note: in this audio edition, you may hear references to visual elements present in the print and e-book formats of the book. Introduction. Spiritual development is an innate evolutionary capacity of all human beings. It is a movement toward wholeness, the discovery of one's true potential, and it is as common and as natural as birth, physical growth, and death, an integral part of our existence. For centuries, entire cultures have treated inner transformation as a necessary and desirable aspect of life. Many societies have developed sophisticated rituals and meditative practices as ways to invite and encourage spiritual growth. Humanity has stored the treasure of the emotions, visions, and insights involved in the process of awakening in paintings, poetry, novels, and music, and in descriptions provided by mystics and prophets. Some of the most beautiful and valued contributions to the world of art and architecture celebrate the mystical realms. For some individuals, however, the transformational journey of spiritual development becomes a spiritual emergency, a crisis in which the changes within are so rapid and the inner states so demanding that, temporarily, these people may find it difficult to operate fully in everyday reality. In our time, these individuals are rarely treated as if they are on the edge of inner growth. Rather, they are almost always viewed through the lens of disease and treated with technologies that obscure the potential benefits these experiences can offer. In a supportive environment, and with proper understanding, these difficult states of mind can be extremely beneficial, often leading to physical and emotional healing, profound insights, creative activity, and permanent personality changes for the better. When we coined the term spiritual emergency, we sought to emphasize both the danger and opportunity inherent in such states. The phrase is, of course, a play on words, referring both to the crisis or emergency that can accompany transformation, and to the idea of emergence, suggesting the tremendous opportunities such experiences may offer for personal growth and the development of new levels of awareness. The stormy search for the self is for people whose lives are touched by spiritual emergency. It is for those who are actually experiencing or have experienced such a crisis, for their families and friends, and for the counselors, clergy, psychologists, psychiatrists, and therapists who might become involved in this extraordinary but completely natural process. It is also a guide for anyone who is involved in personal transformation. Although this book's focus is specifically on the difficult aspects of spiritual crisis, the lessons contained here are also applicable to those whose emergence, though relatively gentle, is nevertheless bewildering and, at times, uncomfortable. Those who have had this kind of experience may benefit from the suggestions given here as to how to better cooperate with and gain from this important process. Throughout history, people in intense spiritual crises were acknowledged by many cultures as blessed. They were thought to be in direct communication with the sacred realms and divine beings. Their society supported them through these crucial episodes, offering sanctuary and suspending the usual demands. Respected members of their communities had been through their own emergencies, could recognize and understand a similar process in others, and, as a result, were able to honor the expression of the creative, mystical impulse. The often colorful and dramatic experiences were nourished with the trust that these individuals would eventually return to the community with greater wisdom and an enhanced capacity to conduct themselves in the world, to their own benefit as well as that of society. With the advent of modern science and the industrial age, this tolerant and even nurturing attitude changed drastically. The notion of acceptable reality was narrowed to include only those aspects of existence that are material, tangible, and measurable. Spirituality in any form was exiled from the modern scientific worldview. Western cultures adopted a restricted and rigid interpretation of what is normal in human experience and behavior, and rarely accepted those who sought to go beyond these limits. Psychiatry found biological explanations for certain mental disorders in the form of infections, tumors, chemical imbalances, and other afflictions of the brain or body. It also discovered powerful ways of controlling symptoms of various conditions for which the causes remained unknown, including the manifestations of spiritual crises. As a result of these successes, psychiatry became firmly established as a medical discipline, and the term mental disease was extended to include many states that, strictly speaking, were natural conditions that could not be linked to biological causes. The process of spiritual emergence in general, along with its more dramatic manifestations, came to be viewed as an illness, and those who demonstrated signs of what had been previously thought of as inner transformation and growth were, in most cases, now considered to be sick. Consequently, many people who have emotional or psychosomatic symptoms are automatically classified as having a medical problem, and their difficulties are seen as diseases of unknown origin, although clinical and laboratory tests do not offer any supportive evidence for such an approach. Most non-ordinary states of consciousness are considered pathological and are treated with traditional psychiatric methods such as suppressive medication and hospitalization. As a result of this bias, many people who are involved in the natural healing process of spiritual emergence are automatically put in the same category as those with true mental illness, especially if their experiences are causing a crisis in their lives or are creating difficulties for their families. This interpretation is further fueled by the fact that much of our culture does not recognize the significance and value of the mystical domains within human beings. The spiritual elements inherent in personal transformation seem alien and threatening to those who are unfamiliar with them. In the last couple of decades, however, this situation has been changing rapidly. Spirituality has been reintroduced into the mainstream culture through renewed interest in sacred systems, such as those found in Eastern religions, Western mystical literature, and Native American traditions. Numerous people are experimenting with meditation and other forms of spiritual practice. Others are involved in self-exploration using various new therapies. Through these methods, they are discovering new dimensions and possibilities within themselves. At the same time, revolutionary developments in many disciplines are rapidly closing the gap between science and spirituality, and modern physicists and researchers in other fields are moving toward a worldview similar to that described by the mystics. Along with the renewed interest in mysticism, we are seeing another phenomenon. Growing numbers of people are having spiritual and paranormal experiences and are willing to talk more openly about them. A survey by the Gallup organization showed that 43% of the people polled admitted to having had unusual spiritual experiences, and 95% said that they believed in God or a universal spirit. From our own observations, it appears that coinciding with this expanded interest is a growing incidence of difficulties related to the transformation process. We became deeply aware of this apparent increase in spiritual emergencies as we traveled around the world in the past decade, presenting workshops and lectures in which we talked about our personal experiences and our alternative understanding of some states that have automatically been labeled as psychotic. We were amazed to find many people who resonated with various elements of our stories. Some had been through
Sample complete. Ready to continue?